So with that, here we're going to talk about, here's our agenda for today. We're going to talk quickly about the mechanical tool set, the electrical tool set, and the Plant 3D tool set. Now the Plant 3D tool set can cross over between building and manufacturing, so I'm covering it in both, just so you know. And last, how to access your tool sets and installation. So with that, let's get started with the AutoCAD mechanical tool set. So the mechanical tool set features. So this is what's called a vertical. So it actually lives on top of AutoCAD, but gives you an entirely new set of tools. So you have some enhancements to layer management and control. You have hidden lines generation, which is a really neat feature. You have access to standard parts and features, machinery generators and calculators, reusable mechanical drawing detailing tools, custom content libraries and publishing. You have smart mechanical engineering dimensions, support for international drafting standards and associative balloons and bill of materials. All of this stuff you don't generally have inside of vanilla AutoCAD. So if you do mechanical design, this would be the next step up. And this is actually a stepping stone to solid modeling like Inventor. Once you're familiar with the AutoCAD mechanical tool set, moving into Inventor, once you understand parametric modeling and things like that, it actually makes the step up into Inventor a lot simpler. So a couple of things here. You've got some enhancements to layer management and control. So the AutoCAD mechanical commands using a feature that's known as automatic property management are pre-configured to create objects on specific layers. Regardless of what layer that's set as current, these commands create geometry or objects only on the predefined layer. If the layer doesn't exist, the command automatically creates the layer and puts the stuff on it, right? This would be a really nice feature in AutoCAD sometimes. So settings such as layer color, line weight, line type are all taken from a set of pre-configured settings that are referred to as layer definitions. So the layers that AutoCAD Mechanical creates on the fly are called mechanical layers. So the AM layer command, which again, when you type in layer, when you're in the mechanical workspace, actually defaults to the AM layer. It doesn't launch the standard AutoCAD layer, it launches the AutoCAD Mechanical layer list. So it's more or less the same layer dialog, but it has some additional functionality and enhancements. So similar to how the layer command enables you to change properties of layer, the AM layer command enables you to change properties of mechanical layers and definitions, and the AM layer shows you what objects are created on each layer. So in addition, the AutoCAD Mechanical ships with 31 layer definitions that have already been assigned to different objects by default. These layers all begin with AM underscore. So if any of you are working with AutoCAD Mechanical and you wonder where did all these AM underscore layers come from, those are part of the standard definitions that are included. So AM 0 through 12, almost all geometry is created on these working layers. You have standard parts layers, so that's AM 0N through AM 12N. AutoCAD Mechanical commands actually create standard parts and features on these layers. And then you have special layers like AMBOR for drawing borders, PAR ref or PA ref for part references, CL for constructions lines, view for viewports, INV used for invisible lines. And AutoCAD Mechanical allows you to customize the properties of each object type so that AutoCAD Mechanical commands can create them on a layer of your choice instead of the ones created by default. For information on how to customize these object properties, please refer to the Configure Automatic Property Management in the Configuration and Setup Guide. There's a lot of information that you can do here to make things more efficient for you. So here's just an example of what your AM layer looks like. So you'll see it just says Layer Properties Manager. This looks like your standard layer properties, but you will see that you have all of the AM underscore layers in there. Now the hidden lines generation, this one is really neat in the fact that the AutoCAD Mechanical creates hidden lines when you specify objects that overlap other objects. The overlapped areas of the objects that lie behind, referred to as background, is drawn as hidden lines. The objects overlapping each other in this manner are said to be involved in a hide situation. Any closed contour on a contour layer or a non-mechanical layer can be selected as a foreground object, and AutoCAD Mechanical's automatic property management mechanism, again, that we've just talked about, intelligently ignores objects that are not appropriate for a hide situation, for example, center lines and hatches. So as an example here, you will see that I have this object right here, which is some concentric circles. And you will see that where they fall underneath this plate at the beginning, it automatically changed that to a hidden. And if I select it, you'll see that the grips show that that's a continuous circle, but it automatically knows to make those hidden because they're behind. Again, this is a time saver rather than how we do it in old school AutoCAD, is where we get the circle, then we have to trim the circle, then we have to rebuild another circle, trim the circle, put the circles on different layers. This AutoCAD Mechanical, provided you're using the functionality within it, will automatically handle all of your hidden line generation for you. So the other thing is you have access to standard parts and features. So built into the software out of the box, you have over 700,000 standard parts and features that are built into the program. This allows you to produce accurate drawings using standard components. Let's take the Wayback Machine 30 years. We didn't have standard parts and features. So if I needed to represent a bolt, I actually had to break out the dimensions and I had to generate a block for a bolt, and I had to use that. Same with washers, same with split ring washers, all of that stuff I had to create manually. All of that stuff is actually built in. And then you have machinery generators and calculators that allow you to efficiently analyze designs, including shaft, spring, belt, chain, and cam generators. And combining the automatic part creation with drawing automation yields the best value for AutoCAD Mechanical users. When you need to capture a more complex engineering in a drawing, machinery generators can help expedite that process as well. So when you get access to your standard features, so you're going to see here, I'm in content, and you're going to see right up here that I have access to my content libraries. I have a content manager and I can generate new content. I also have screw templates, screw connections, and you'll see I have a number of fasteners here. I also have the ability to create holes simply by clicking on this. So I can create a through hole, a blind hole, a tapped through, and you've got all the other holes here. I have standard parts. So my standard steel shapes here, right? I launch steel shapes and it'll give me this, and you'll see I have an ANSI L unequal angle right here in my catalog, which I can just click and place. You'll also see I have shaft generators, some of that stuff. And then over at the end of this tab, you have an FEA. So you can actually do some of the finite element analysis in 2D and run calculations where you can add values. Is it a single value, double, etc.? And you can actually run some finite element analysis inside AutoCAD Mechanical for your standard 2D parts. So we also have reusable mechanical drawing detailing tools. So you can use these intelligent drafting tools that are made for mechanical design. And you also have custom content library and publishing. So the content manager enables you to add parts and features to a content library. You can use one of the following ways: by adding a current drawing to the custom content, selecting geometry, adding a block, creating an item from scratch, and copying an item from a standard part library. The first 4 methods enable you to create items that do not exist in the standard part content library. The last method lets you create an item that's a variation of an existing standard part, for example, a steel shape with chamfered edges. That's one of the neat things about AutoCAD Mechanical Toolset here, is that if you have a standard catalog of parts that you use, you can put these into your custom content library, and then they become available for you at a single click in order to bring that stuff in. And the reusable mechanical detailing tools. So here's all of our detailing tools, right? I can go down in here and you'll see I have access to the ISO tools and the ANSI tools, and I have features, fasteners, and you'll see I expanded out nuts, hex nuts, and I've got square nut UNC right here, and I see the standard UNC square nut. Over here, I just click on it and I can place it. And then your custom content library and publishing. So when I add custom content to here, I would see any custom content in here as well. And I can use that with a single click. Right? And so some of the other things is we have some smart mechanical engineering dimensions. So you can create dimensions using abbreviated dialog boxes. And the smart mechanical engineering dimensions are actually faster and more intuitive than basic AutoCAD dimensions. You have support for international drafting standards, so you can deliver standards-based design documentation. And again, this is built into the program. Like you saw in my example there on the previous screen, we have access immediately to the ISO and the ANSI standards, and there are some other standards you can also add. And associated balloons and bill of materials. When you create using the content libraries and parts, you can actually generate a bill of materials that will actually turn around and give you counts and generate bill of materials automatically based on what's in the drawing, and creates a dynamic bill of materials. So as you add and remove objects, that bill of materials will update, right? So smart mechanical engineering dimensions look like this. When you do multiple dimensioning, you'll see that this is a greatly abbreviated dialog box. When you click OK and start clicking points, it's going to figure out what type of dimensions you're putting in and automatically do that. You're going to also see our support for international drafting standards. So you'll see we have ISO here, and you do have a drop down here where you can select different objects. So if you don't want ISO, which is primarily metric, and you use ANSI, you click the standard box here. Again, this is under the AM standards. Whoops. It's under the AM standards here. You click this down, you select ANSI, the measurement comes in imperial inches, and you'll see that you can do all of this here, and you will see all of your standard elements listed over here. So that's the mechanical tool set. In a nutshell, it's got a lot of features and functionality, especially if you do a lot of mechanical driven design, which is going to be time savers for you. So moving on, we're going to go into the AutoCAD Electrical tool set. So in the electrical tool set, we have a large number of features here. We have electrical documentation, which is automatic report generation, customer and supplier collaboration, allows you to easily manage products, and there's some enhanced PDF publishing just for electrical projects. You can do schematic design, in other words, wire numbering, component tagging, circuit design and reuse, electrical schematic symbol libraries, and real-time error checking. And then you also have electrical controls. So the difference between schematic design and controls design, so schematic design, you may actually be doing schematics, and then with the electrical controls, you may be looking at PLC, panel layouts, things like that, where you can actually go into the controls design and do coil and contact cross-referencing. You can do PLC I/O drawings from spreadsheets. So if you have a spreadsheet that has your PLC input and outputs, you can actually use that spreadsheet to bring that data into your controls design. You have a catalog browser for parts. And again, this catalog browser is pre-populated with a large number of parts that you would typically use. Siemens, Allen Bradley, things like that you would put in a panel. And then interoperability with Inventor. So this allows you to take your Inventor designs, connect them with the electrical tool set so you can do panel layouts for an Inventor drawing. So with the electrical tool set, we have, again, our automatic report generation. This allows you to generate and update customized reports, easily share DWG drawings with stakeholders. You can use folders to organize your projects and reorder files for electrical drafting projects, and publish schematics to multi-page PDFs. That's everything in here. And so with our automatic generation report, so when you go in here and do a schematic report, you can do a bill of materials, and you'll see that you have a component wireless connector plug. You can generate reports for PLC I/O addresses and descriptions, component connections, PLC modules used so far, terminal numbers. You can generate a report for terminal plans, connector summaries, connector details, cable summaries, cable to and froms, and wire labels. All of these things are standard reports that are built in that you can turn around and add your own customizations to. So electrical documentation, customer and supplier collaboration right here. So when you come in here and have you get a drawing from a customer that's not an AutoCAD Electrical, you can come in here and you can tag components. You can also come in here and rework the components and convert components into electrical specific objects that will still be an AutoCAD object. So somebody who's using basic AutoCAD can still see that information. You can easily manage projects. So as you have a project manager here, those of you that are familiar with like AutoCAD architecture or even anything else that has a project here, like plant, you have the ability to create separate projects. Those projects will have specific things in them. For example, schematics, panel layouts, things like that, that will all be under that single project. and then you can easily manage the projects there. And then when you go to do the enhanced PDF publishing, you'll see that you have a slightly different dialog box here. For the publish setup, you can publish model tabs, first layout tabs, multi-sheets, and you can publish everything. So think of this project as more like a combination of a project manager and a sheet set manager all in a single view, where you can just immediately get to here, run publish in the background, and publish all your schematics at one time to a multi-page PDF without relying on a sheet set manager. So moving on to the schematic design. Now you've got wire numbering and component tagging, and this helps reduce the errors with the automatic numbers for wires and tags for components. Circuit design and reuse, you can use a circuit builder for simple electrical design. The electrical schematic symbol libraries that have a rich library of predefined electrical symbols, and you have multiple standards, again, pre-built into the program. So your NFPA, your IEEE, and other standards are automatically built into the AutoCAD Electrical toolset, so you don't have to pre-populate or recreate any of this stuff. And real-time error checking, you can catch problems before the build phase begins by actually running error checking, and it will tell you if you have unconnected wires, if you have circuits that are not complete, things like that. So with the wire numbering and component tagging, you'll see right here that I have a circuit builder in the schematic. I've got an icon menu, but mostly here is under the wires. And you'll see when we go to wire tagging, we can tag and retag everything. We can cross-reference our signals. We can refresh the database if we need to, if we've changed signaling. We've got line references. We can override the format. So you can actually set things up in here to automatically do what you want. In addition, you can also pick individual wires, and as you pick these, they will number them for you. Now, circuit design and reuse. So for example, if you have a three-phase motor circuit, there's one pre-built in here already for a horizontal FVNR non-reversing motor. That's a three-phase motor circuit. You pop this in, it will automatically populate that circuit. You just need to make the connections to it and you're done. It's pretty slick, actually. And then we get to our electrical schematic symbol library. So you're going to see in here, like I'm looking at our NFPA, and I'm under selector switches and illuminated selector switches, and you're going to see that I have a 2-position normally open, 2-position normally closed, 2-position normally open, return from left, etc. So these things are all pre-built. I just click on one, inserts it just like a block. And then the real-time error checking. When we come in here and do our error checking, you'll see down here that we can actually run it for the project or just the active drawing. And when we run it, you'll see that we have 54 issues found. And you'll see down here that example wire 202 has an unconnected wire. So I can immediately go through here. If I've tagged everything and gone through the process of using electrical the way it's intended, I can come back in here and go, oh, wait a minute, I've got unconnected wires that either need to connect to somewhere or need to be accounted for. So again, this is just a way to help prevent these errors before you send these things out to the shop floor, and then they come back and say, well, this doesn't work. And now we're going to talk about some electrical controls design. So this is coil and contact cross-referencing, and this will keep track of the parent and child contacts in real time. You've got PLC I/O drawings from spreadsheets, so you can define a project's input-output assignments using a spreadsheet. You've got a catalog browser for parts, again, with enhanced preview and direct component insertion. And then you have an integrated mechatronic solution with Inventor for the interoperability, right? So coil and contact cross-referencing. So as I'm using all of this information in here, you're gonna see that when I put things in here, it's gonna tell me this is normally open 411, this is our safety relay number 1, and all of this information in this one line right here is all cross-referenced. So if I make a change, it'll update correctly to what I need it to be. Catalog browser. So for example, if I go to our catalog browser here, so I'm in motors, I'm looking up an Allen Bradley DC motor 10 horsepower, and you're gonna see I actually have catalog numbers directly from the Allen Bradley catalog that I can click and insert this into my drawing, and that will actually put in that exact model of the Allen Bradley DC motor. And then the electromechanical link helps set up one electrical project to one inventor project for smooth data exchange. So you can either create or you can link. And then our PLC IO drawings from spreadsheets. So you have a whole import and export data tab here. You can actually go to our PLC IO utility or from spreadsheet. And when you go to the spreadsheet utility, you go find your spreadsheet, and you can actually use the wizard here to automatically link this and actually give you your PLC IO inputs and outputs and make that part of your project. All right, I'm talking a lot here, but now we're going to go into the Plant 3D toolset. So with the Plant 3D toolset, we have a number of things here. Collaboration for Plant 3D. Does it link with Revit also? No, AutoCAD Electrical does not link with Revit. It's primarily meant to link with Inventor. If you're talking about Revit linking to, for example, AutoCAD MEP, so if you're wanting toilets and electrical lines for lighting and things like that, that would be AutoCAD MEP, which would be the building one coming up. This is primarily for mechanical electrical. That's the big differentiation here. So collaboration for Plant 3D using BIM 360. So this gives you quick P&ID drafting, which is process and instrumentation diagram. You've got industry standard symbol libraries, data validation, 3D modeling. So you can do rapid plant modeling in 3D, parametric equipment templates, structural modeling, and create project specific piping specs. You also have piping documentation, so you can create and edit piping orthographic drawings. You have automated production of, no, Revit is used for all plant models. Okay, Richard, we'll come back to that. Automated production of piping isometrics, automated project specific reporting, BIM model documentation. And then you've got your Plant 3D workflow. So you've got a Plant 3D toolset plus BIM 360 design workflow. You've got Plant 3D plus Revit plus Navisworks plus InfraWorks. That's a workflow. And then your whole Autodesk AEC collection is a workflow. So collaboration in P&IDs. So you can collaborate on plant design models across project teams and maintain compliance requirements, all in cloud-based common data environment. This would be using Plant 3D with BIM 360 that does allow Plant 3D and Revit models to interact. You've got quick P&ID drafting, so you've got in-context AutoCAD commands to help make P&ID drafting easier. When you place components and lines in your P&ID drawing, each component contains data that links to the data manager. In the data manager, you can view your data reports, export them to a spreadsheet or comma separated values and import them back into the program. And then you have industry standard symbol libraries. The Plant 3D toolset is delivered with standard symbol libraries in the tool palettes. They include PIP, ISA, ISO DIN, JIS, and data validation. You can quickly identify possible errors by scanning P&IDs for data consistency according to user definable rules. Is there a link option for AutoCAD Electrical with P&ID? I'll be honest with you, I don't believe so, but I'm not 100% sure on that you can link a P&ID to an AutoCAD Electrical drawing. I believe those are two separate pieces. So with your collaboration in P&ID, so when you collaborate for Plant 3D using BIM 360, obviously we've talked about quick P&ID drafting, so you have your standard, you've got your standard P&ID drafting, so that's P&ID ISO, P&ID PIP, ISA GIN, and these are all workspaces you can actually choose. And then when you choose the correct workspace, it'll actually bring up the correct tool palette with the correct standard industry symbol libraries. And then when you add this stuff, it comes in here. So electrical not work data from Plant 3D models and correct. So collaboration and P&IDs data validation. So you've got a drawing checker and you also have a validation, and you can actually find unmatched model inline fittings here, where it will come through and tell you how many errors there are in here that need to be rectified in your P&ID. So you've got rapid plant modeling in 3D. You can quickly create 3D plant models using parametric equipment modeling, structural steel libraries, project-specific piping specifications using industry standard piping catalogs, which are included in Plant 3D. You've got parametric equipment templates, so you can create and edit equipment using parametric templates to help you create plant layouts faster. Structural modeling, you can lay out structures, stairs, ladders, and railings used by industry standard steel sections, again, using the AISC, CISC, and DIN standards that are included. And then you have project-specific piping specs, so you can customize your piping specifications to meet project-specific requirements, and it includes industry standard components as well as any customized components. So with the rapid modeling in Plant 3D, you can come in here, you can create equipment, it'll bring you here, you can pick this information and you can actually change things. You can add shapes, trims, things like that to a vertical tank. So this is the parametric equipment templates, and then drop a tank in here based on what you want for specifications. 3D modeling, so structural modeling under the structure, so you can add structural members, grids, railings, stairs, plates, footings, ladders, line models, things like that. You can do structure edit, structure explode, and you're going to see here that you have an entire spec editor as well for your piping specs. So this stuff in here, that's your structures. If you need to put up a railing, you click railing, you pick the type of railing, your standard, and you apply it to the side, it puts your railing in for you. Piping documentation. So we create and edit piping orthographic drawings. You can extract piping orthographic drawings directly from the 3D model and update them as the 3D model is being updated. Automated production of the piping isometrics. So you can create the industry standard, project standard piping isometric drawings directly, again, from these 3D models. Your automated project specific reporting, so you can define report formats for the project and automatically populate data from that 3D model as you're creating it. And BIM model documentation, work with other industry disciplines to create BIM models for the plant. So when you go in here and create piping documentation, basically what you do is you come in here, you select your area for what you want to do, and it will generate you an orthographic drawing of the piping in question. Based on the box I drew here, this is what you get in this. Obviously the zoom factor is not quite there, so you can't see it quite as clearly, but that's basically where all the piping is in the drawing. When I talk about automated production of piping isometrics, so I selected these pipes right here, and this is the piping isometric it generated, and it also gives me automatic bill of materials, populates a title block. Now this is the out of the box title block, so I need to customize that for myself. But you'll see all of the information in this piping run here is reflected here. So your piping documentation, you have automated project specific reporting, so you can come in here and do your reporting with the report designer. You can say this is what you want it to fill out, this is the information you want it to get from your drawing, and this is the same stuff that you can do with a BIM model as well, and you can run these same reports. And then last, we've got our Plant 3D workflow. So if you're using Plant 3D Toolset and BIM 360 Design, it allows plant designers to use BIM 360 to collaborate across project teams, cloud-based common data environment, Plant plus Revit plus Navisworks plus InfraWorks. Use Plant 3D in the AEC collection for spec-driven design, analysis, and construction-ready isometrics. So you use Revit for the building, Plant to fill in the building's information, Navisworks for clash detection, InfraWorks to actually look at the Revit model on the site and how it will look. And then with the AEC collection, you can streamline your workflows using the Plant 3D, Civil 3D, InfraWorks, Revit, and any other BIM software and tools directly out of your AutoCAD AEC collection or Autodesk AEC collection. So that's all about the tool sets for manufacturing. Now we're going to talk about how we access your tool sets and do installation. You have two options when it comes to installing AutoCAD and AutoCAD specialized tool sets. You can either go through your account portal or the desktop app. The account portal is where you can access any previous version. If you go and use your If you go and use the Autodesk desktop app, you can only get the current version, which is 2022. Otherwise, you need to go to manage.autodesk.com. You'll log in with your Autodesk account. You'll find your AutoCAD including specialized tool sets. There'll be a button over here that says View Included Products. When you click the View Included Products, you'll see AutoCAD including specialized tool sets here, and you'll see AutoCAD, AutoCAD Architecture, Electrical, Plant 3D, etc. And generally, we recommend selecting the View All and using the Download Now method. When you click one of these to download, you'll want to use the Download Now. That's we find is the easiest and best and least error prone. With the desktop app, if you already have the desktop app installed, you can click on the button that just says you click the I agree to terms, you click install, and it will download the product and start the installation. Now, we generally don't recommend this in all cases, simply because it is failure prone, but it does work. You can always try it. And when you're accessing your tool sets in installation, if you plan on using plain AutoCAD, always install that first. Install any other tool set components you wish to use, and then always install raster design at the very last. This way it will be available for all installed AutoCAD based products. So if I install AutoCAD and I install raster design and then I install mechanical, raster design tab will not show up in mechanical until I either do a full reinstall of raster design, uninstall, reinstall, or I do a repair install if it's 2021 or older. All right, Q&A time. You guys have had a few Q&A questions already. I've tried to answer what I can. Does anybody else have any other questions regarding the tool sets for mechanical design or manufacturing, I should say?
While we're waiting for people to type in their questions, I have posted today's second session at 2 p.m. This is tool sets for the building industry. If anybody wants to join us, please feel free to click on that link and register yourself. Maybe there's somebody in the office that would benefit from that. And then I've got a couple more links that I can put in there. We have now, the marketing department has created a landing page for all of Ryan's content. So I'm going to post that into the chat as well. Ryan, can you see the chats? Like, can you see that it's actually going through?
Yep, I can see it in the chat. I see that that's my landing page for just my webinars.
Okay.
So any of the webinars that I've done in the past is there. Can Plant 3D isometrics be made 3D versus single line? So the isometrics, right? Let's go back to isometrics. All right. So if I look at the isometric here, you would like that to be 3D versus single line. I believe the isometrics are actually done single line. There may be an option to make those 3D, but I believe it is single line. Are any tool sets available for usage in AutoCAD LT? Unfortunately, Jordan, no. AutoCAD LT, just so you know, AutoCAD LT stands for lesser technology, which means it is the core AutoCAD product, but it is missing a great deal of the higher end programming, such as access to Lisp routines, access to third-party functionality, things like that. So you would want to upgrade your AutoCAD LT to AutoCAD including specialized tool sets if you want to take advantage of these. So, all right, Richard, I see where you're coming with this. So you would like to link Plant 3D to AutoCAD Electrical, because I'm assuming you would like to use AutoCAD Electrical to do your panel layouts and your wiring diagrams, but you want to incorporate that into your P&ID or your plant stuff, correct? All right, and I'll wait for Richard, but is there any difference between AutoCAD Electrical 2020 and AutoCAD Electrical Toolsets in 2022? Rick, no, AutoCAD Electrical 2020 is still the same as AutoCAD Electrical 2022. What you're doing is that you're installing, it depends on what you want. If you are only concerned about the electrical, the AutoCAD Electrical, when I say it's the electrical tool set, it's actually AutoCAD Electrical that you're installing. So the only thing that you're gonna see as a difference between 2020 and 2022 is any of the features and functionality that they've enhanced in standard AutoCAD, plus the enhancements and any other updates they've done with the electrical tools in 2022. So your company only likes the 2D version of the P&ID. Is there a good way of making plant work better with this? That's a good question. I will be honest with you, I am not a plant expert. I'm functional in plant, but I'm not an expert on that. If you do have some more questions on that, then absolutely, I would suggest either if you are one of our customers, opening up a case with us at support@rand.com. If you have your subscription through us, and then we can get you with a plant 3D specific applications expert, and that way they can see what it is you need to do, and we can see if we can help you out better with that. All right. So Richard, I am not sure of the best workflow there as far as what you are wanting to do as far as get your electrical schematics out of electrical and incorporate them into your plant drawings in P&ID. And I would probably recommend the same thing that I just recommended to Michael, which would be if you are an IMAGINiT customer. If not, you can certainly contact your own reseller. You've got a method of contacting them and see what they recommend. Again, I am not a super fluent plant guy. I know enough to help most people, but when we get into the advanced functionality, I'm not the guy. Okay, I'll just be honest with you, I'm not the guy. So yes, I would definitely recommend reaching out that way to see if there is a good method of doing what you want to do, because obviously the plant 3D does not create schematics real well. It creates great process and instrumentation diagrams, but that's about it. And if you're wanting to incorporate your electrical panel information and things like that, I don't know if there is a way, but one of our applications experts could certainly help with that, or your reseller may have resources that they can point you in the right direction.
I think that one of our head guys in Toronto, he's an electrical expert, but he may be on client side. I was trying to see if I could find him on Teams if he could answer the question. No, he's on site.
Yep, and that's okay. Like I said, if that AutoCAD Electrical makes good plant IDs not linked to plant though. Yes, AutoCAD Electrical, you can use AutoCAD Electrical to make P&IDs. You're gonna have to build some custom content in order to make that happen, because P&IDs are not the same as schematics, which is what AutoCAD Electrical is really good at, is making schematics and circuit diagrams, but with some modifications inside AutoCAD Electrical and some custom blocks and some custom content, you can absolutely make AutoCAD Electrical work for P&ID. That I have done, because I've actually used AutoCAD Electrical many years ago to make P&IDs and single line diagrams, and it required some effort. I wanted to say thank you everyone for attending. I hope you weren't expecting any specific demonstration. This was more of a walkthrough of the tools and what they can do for you. If you do have any questions, you can certainly contact Lori at lelliott@rand.com. And then we do have a full resources page, resources.imaginit.com. We have a lot of content in there. So we have blogs, we have video walkthroughs, all that kind of information you can find there, and it's free for everyone.
Great, thanks, Ryan. Okay, and as mentioned, if you guys want to join us at 2 o'clock this afternoon, the link is in the chat. All right, so with that, thank you, Ryan, and thanks everyone for joining us today. Stay well and stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you at 2. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.